Hello, my name is Emma Rimeike, and I'm the founder of Quantum Cybersecurity Skills. Today, I would like to introduce to you Jay Davey. And Jay Davey, we've been messaging on LinkedIn, and I got really intrigued when JJ wanted to speak about how the actual or real artificial intelligence does not exist yet. So this is your time, Davey. Let's introduce yourself briefly, and let's go ahead.
Brilliant, thank you. So yeah, my name's Jay Davey. I'm a cybersecurity expert. I've been in the cybersecurity industry for 3 years, and I've been in technology for around 10 years now. And I have this kind of a preamble about artificial intelligence is not real. However, with a pinch of salt, because we are starting to implement fake AI now, or weak AI, as some people call it. However, it's not the AI that we believe. It's not the general AI. It doesn't have its ability to take information from one and learn and then apply it to a different standard. It's a narrow set of thinking, also known as narrow AI. It's only got one specific task it would complete. When AI is able to take what it's learned and move it to different standards and different tasks and complete different tasks and actually apply their own logic or that artificial logic that it has, then it will start to be considered general AI. We are starting to see a lot of implementation of machine learning, which is what we're seeing now. So all these vendors that claim that they have AI and they go, oh yeah, we have this next generation AI product. Underneath all the bells and whistles, it's machine learning. It still requires the data sets to be pushed into the machine learning algorithm to then learn what the data means and try and predict outputs and try and benefit security teams in such a way so it can predict threats. So it might be able to look at behavior and think, this behavior does not look right, but we don't know yet. We still need a bit more data. We need to analyze a bit more time. And the algorithm would just churn and churn the data, and then it'd be like, all right, okay, we believe this is now, it's reached that threshold. This could be dangerous. Let's knock it on the head and let's deal with it. So it then alert the security teams to say, hey, we've detected this. Because of this, and then these like data sets, we have classed this as a threat or a risk to the business. So a lot of organizations are starting to buy into this whole AI, everything, but then they don't understand the reasoning why behind why they want to implement this AI solution. Because a lot of times we are starting to use these machine learning solutions in our business. So we're just pointing all the data that we can think of to it, but with no real reasoning behind it. We're not asking ourselves, well, what do we want from this solution? How is it going to benefit our business?
The why is missing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you need to ask yourself, well, why do we need this solution? What are we looking to get from it? Is there something else that we can do in the meantime that could potentially help our security posture? Because what I see with a lot of security teams, a lot of SOC teams in general, is they would use machine learning to churn all the data sets and help produce alerts for the security analysts to then go and investigate. But there's no reason behind the data they're ingesting, and there's no actions behind it. So they may be like, oh, there's another alert, I'll block that. There's another alert, I'll block that. But they're not going behind the scenes to say, hey, where's these alerts coming from? Oh, there might be a problem further downstream that we can then go and repair. I mean, that's the kind of thing that we need to start bringing in with these machine learning solutions. Is they need to not just tell you there's a problem, but tell you where, how, and what you could do about it. So maybe implementing a knowledge base into that. So we've seen this threat. This is how you can stop it. These are what you need to do to stop it. We're not seeing that. We're just seeing, hey, we're just in this, go deal with it. And the security teams are getting burnt out because all these alerts are coming out really, really fast. So for me, I think the whole concept of pushing this AI is false. It's a false narrative. It's too quick. Some organizations are not able to handle the kind of computing power required to run some of these solutions, and it's quite expensive. And they haven't got the resources in terms of security team to be able to handle the output. So it's creating a lot of stress in the back end.
Fantastic. And again, when we were chatting on LinkedIn, and the proposed subject you wanted to cover that we are discussing right now, I was also thinking, what is the real AI, what it has to do, as you and I would like to link this to some of the shows I've seen on, I think, Netflix, that was called Devs and Humans. I also read a couple of good months ago a book called Life 3.0. This is where this book also indicates what AI is, and one of the things of more proper AI mentioned is this multi-dimension, as you have mentioned, instead of being narrow AI, multi-dimension, not only completing the task and learning basic things in the same one narrative, but how to apply, how to expand. But there is also actually some of the resources have mentioned consciousness. We humans have the conscious, and we learn to survive, but machines, they don't. They don't care about survival. And I've been in many meetings with business leaders, industry leaders, where AI, machine learning, has been touched even 2 years ago, and there is a big risk. There is a big risk from organizational point of view. Can we trust? Who is behind? Who is controlling the controller? One of the expressions was, how not to let the machines go wild, and then you lose the control of what of their purpose. So do you have any opinion in this area about risks, and maybe an advice to the organizations what they need to be looking at?
Yeah, so I follow some big industry leaders at the moment they're in the industry of artificial intelligence, and they're producing these solutions. There's a company called DeepMind that I follow religiously. I follow all their articles, and we are getting close to general AI. It's probably about 10, 15 years old. And the meaning of general AI is an AI that's able to learn from one context and apply it to another. So it breaks that narrow boundary. But when a business is implementing any sort of AI or AI-driven solution, anything with machine learning, it needs to be a slow process. You can't just plug it in and play, because if that is then going to act on data, it could act on data the wrong way, and it could cause a negative impact to the industry or to your business. For example, let's just say that it's detected a threat, but that's not actually a threat. It's just a user that's falling off the domain, and it blocks that user out, and it never trusts them again. All of a sudden, you've got a business impact that you've not foreseen. And that's because this machine has acted upon its own impulses because of the algorithms that are driving it. Another risk that I see quite commonly is not trusting the third party that produces the algorithm. So what you need to do is have a good third party, vendor security kind of program. So when you go to onboard this new vendor or this third party that gives you this machine learning algorithm, you need to ask yourself, what are their development life cycle? What's their security standards? What kind of fail safes do they have implemented? So when you start asking these questions, you start to understand the level of trust you can have within this algorithm. But it's always good to have that level of control if anything goes wrong. You always see that if you ever implement a machine learning driven solution, it always has like a learning phase. So it has like a 2-week phase, a 14-day phase, where it will learn the data. You will start tagging the data so it's able to learn it a bit better and understand your environment more. So I always recommend to people, if you are going to implement this kind of solution, use that learning phase. It's crucial that if this learning phase is enabled for the machine learning solution to be able to perform optimally. If you don't use that learning phase, you're going to have a lot of negative impact, because it's going to act on the data that it thinks is malicious, because it hasn't learned what is bad and what is good. It's just going to act on the bad straight away to protect you. And in the meantime, you've just lost lots of money because this machine is going to block everything. Everything's bad because it doesn't know yet. And that's the problem. Whereas general AI, we would think that it would learn extremely quickly and it'd be able to identify what is bad and what is good very, very quickly. Where
Mm.
machine learning just takes quite a while for it to learn the environment that it's sitting on.
Mm. No, interesting thinking. Plus, I'm also reading a lot about quantum, which is part of my PhD, and algorithms. Which is part of AI and ML, of course. Do you? What is your opinion? Do you think algorithms part of AI ML will become or is already intellectual property? Because where I'm linking with this is what we see today. Hackers are attacking more and more MSSPs, IT providers, or consulting firms. They are attacking supply chain, and the purpose of this is to get into the bigger database, more businesses in one go, and you can harness more valuable information because it's a business for them, of course, and a big cost to organizations. But what I'm trying to say, do you think vendors on one side working to create artificial intelligence, more smarter algorithms, do you think this will pose a higher risk for us in the future from, when someone tries to get into this algorithm, maybe twist, change, and start acting in completely different ways to what it was originally coded for?
Yes, so it's much like the quantum computer race first and the artificial intelligence race. At the end of the day, it is an arms race. You have Google producing their new quantum computer, claiming quantum supremacy.
Yeah.
And you have Honeywell going, "Oh no, we've got the fastest." It's the exact same concept for artificial intelligence. What we are starting to see is businesses trying to outdo each other, going, "Oh, our algorithm is more powerful. Our algorithm is more powerful," but that just makes more of a target. So what we're probably going to see in the future is we're probably going to see a leak of the source code for a machine learning product. And they can steal that, manipulate it in such a way that it can be used for nefarious activities. And we've seen this lots and lots of times. Take nuclear energy, for example. Nuclear energy, it had really, really good ideas behind it, but people made it into a weapon.
Yeah.
The ideology behind it was positive, but people made it into a weapon. And it's a human nature. If we have something, someone's out there who's going to try and use it for some bad activities or their own personal gain. And it's a matter of time. It's not if, it's when. So
Yeah.
we need to be careful. And with quantum computing as well, it's so powerful. We're seeing mathematical algorithms or mathematical problems that are being solved in a matter of seconds that can take a normal supercomputer, thousands of years. So just imagine coupling quantum computer with artificial intelligence. All of a sudden, you've got a super weapon. It's almost a cyber super weapon.
Yeah.
So people do need to tread carefully. We need to make sure that we're not jumping the gun here and we're doing it safely.
Okay, so what would be your recommendation to the business leaders? Do you have any vendors they should be following, or anyone about next generation artificial intelligence, or more closer to the real artificial intelligence? What else we can share with the listeners?
So I think the best bit of advice that I can give anyone looking to venture into implementing these kind of solutions for their business is ask yourself, what is the requirement? Why do you need it? Because you may not even need it. You may be able to solve your problem somewhere else. But when you've got to think about is when you implement these solutions, you've got to think about the resources, the people that you need to bring in to be able to implement a solution to your business. And it's not a plug and play. These algorithms do need constant care and attention. They need fixes. They need updates. They need people to fine tune it here and there. So it's a journey. It's not just a tool or a solution. It is a journey for a business. And it can transform a business for very positive means. And that's also something to take away, is that this can transform a business. So it's also something to take away. But I would say that if you are going to take the journey, take it slow and just weigh out your options.
Fantastic. Good. And it was a really very interesting touch on this subject, JJ. So I thank you for the time, and this is really planting a seed to think about it, about artificial intelligence. You know, the why. Are we looking? Of course, many businesses are looking to improve agility, business agility, with technologies who help to automate, you know, and speed up the processes. But I really liked. I think we're gonna reconnect. Let's keep following. You know, some trends, and I would be very curious to reconnect with you 6 months from now, or you know, when time is right, and just explore. Do we see any changes in this to what we are discussing today? Okay, so thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
All right, bye bye.
Bye.